Now it's come up, and John Solomon has put out this incredible reporting about the Clintons and the Clinton Foundation, the Clinton Global Initiative. And if you hearken back a decade ago, a little institution, a small institution really run by some amazing people, actually drilled down into the Clintons and expose their corruption. And as much as anything else, President Trump's America First and President Trump's, build the wall and bring jobs back in that really intense fight in the 2016 campaign, a big element of this was people's just hesitation and reservations about the Clintons just being too corrupt. Not just Bill Clinton and his obvious perversions and corruptions, but really Hillary as the head of the mob over there. I want to bring in now Peter Schweizer, Eric Eggers from Government Accountability. And guys, I just want to, because a lot of people, particularly a lot of the newer audience that's come to the war room since the pandemic or since the 2020 election, a lot of these people didn't even vote for Trump in 2016 or were not awakened to politics, much less what happened in 2015. I want to go back to the beginning and talk about, because my understanding in talking to people after John Solomon broke it, there's some serious, grand jury, there's some serious investigation going on about the very topics you guys exposed over a decade ago. So walk us through, Peter and Eric, walk through what exactly are we talking about in Clinton corruption, Clinton cash, all of it, guys.
Well, what we showed in the book Clinton Cash, and Clinton Cash was, of course, a culmination of research that the Government Accountability Institute had put forward. And you, Steve, of course, co-found GAI with me, and you were chairman of the organization at the time that the book came out in 2015. We showed that the Clintons were taking huge sums of money in the forms of speaking fees that Bill Clinton was getting while Hillary was the Secretary of State. This was coming from foreign sources like Russia and China, these very corrupt corners of the earth. And the Clinton Foundation itself was getting large donations from people that were getting favors from the State Department. They were getting Haitian reconstruction contracts, et cetera. So that was kind of the genesis of the book. It was the paper trail. It was the money trail. And I would argue that kind of laid the predicate, or laid the pattern, which the Bidens would follow later with regards to China.
Yeah, I think you absolutely can't separate the Biden family corruption, which we also chronicled here at the Government Accountability Institute. Remember, Joe Biden's vice president, Hunter Biden, is his son. They're watching how much money the Clintons are making because she's Secretary of State. One of the more shocking statistics, Steve, and your audience will just be stunned to learn this. Bill Clinton, after he leaves the presidency, gives 13 speeches for which he's paid over $500,000, right? He leaves the office in 2000. 11 of those speeches in which he's paid over $500,000 don't come until Hillary becomes Secretary of State. And as Peter likes to say, so he either became a better speaker or people realized the front door to the State Department came in Bill's wallet, right? And so, yeah, Clinton cash just exposed the shameless and obscene ways that people traded favors, and that's what I think why quite honestly the FBI reached out, and that's what we now know from this John Solomon reporting. Clinton Cash is published on May 5th, 2015. And now we know the FBI is having internal negotiations about should we open an investigation into the Clinton Foundation less than 2 months later.
Hey, but when Clinton, because I want to go back about how it was set up, when the Clintons left the White House, they actually had negative net worth because they had never really owned any real estate because he'd been governor of Arkansas and then the president, right? So they hadn't built up any net worth. They were actually, I think, had negative net worth, Peter, if I remember your analysis, because of the legal fees around Monica Lewinsky and his impeachment. As I told people at the beginning, remember, the White House counsel's office represents the office of the president, not the individual. So Clinton had to go get his own individual lawyers. Negative net worth. But they thought of the concept. They understood with all the world leaders coming into the White House and the Chinese generals with the cash, they weren't really able to skim any off the top. So they came up with an architecture that combined their contacts throughout the world. Hillary's going to be president one day, right? Maybe she'll take a stop as Secretary of State or Secretary of Defense. But they set up an apparatus to monetize these relationships, not forward the advancement of the United States, but to monetize their relationships empowered to come. Did they not?
Yeah, that's exactly right, Steve. And the reason that this worked so well for the Clintons is Bill leaves office in 2000. What happens? Hillary runs for the U.S. Senate 2 years later and becomes a senator from New York. And we trace the fact that she joined certain committees, and the committees that she was on ended up covering areas where big donations came from people who wanted favors from Hillary, and Hillary gave it to them. When she became the Secretary of State under Barack Obama, that's when it just absolutely exploded. And you got all these foreign entities. The whole Russia collusion farce as it relates to Trump was not a farce when it came to the Clintons. I mean, one of the things we showed in the book, and you'll remember, Steve, the New York Times ran a front page story, 4,000 words, confirming the Uranium One story. The fact that Bill Clinton helped these investors get the uranium mines from Kazakhstan with the help of the Russians. And then they, of course, got Uranium One, which was a U.S. uranium company. They folded that into it. That ended up being bought by the Russians. And the Clinton Foundation got $145 million from the investors in that uranium company. So there was Russia collusion. It was not just that, but there was massive Russia collusion involving the Clintons. Those were the days where they thought Putin, oh, this is a decent guy, a guy we can do business with, and a guy who can make us rich.
Eric, there you see right there is it's not just the foundation that can get the speaking fees and everything else, but it's the exploitation of relationships. This is what we saw in Biden when we went and saw everything that they were doing with the Chinese Communist Party and later with Ukraine.